It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, May 28th. And so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Do not follow us on SoundCloud and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have world news, the evangelism word study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is a wonderful and awesome Wednesday. We've hit the midweek and we are so close to Alpha Day, which is June 1st. It's just around the corner on Sunday. Hope you guys are looking forward to it too, and I hope that many of your churches are doing some evangelism events for that also. Don't forget, tomorrow and every week we do have Q&A Thursday, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can, whether it's a DM or in the comment section. And for today's video, if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community. I am just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive, so let's get up and support each other each and every day, all right? This week's Sunday message title is Repentance and Adornment, right? So I hope you guys have been enjoying this message. It's been a pretty wild week for me already. I went to the dentist again yesterday, guys, and it's so, I just feel like this is all my own doing. It definitely is, and I'll tell you why. Well, the reason I went to the dentist, and I was supposed to go like today, but I ended up going yesterday because my tooth on the other side was hurting, and I was just like, I got to go in. So I just went in, I just waited there for like 40 minutes before they let me in and stuff like that too. And he thought I was coming for the other tooth, right? To clean out the nerves and stuff. So he did that. So I was telling him like, dude, and I didn't say dude. I was like, man, the other side is killing me. He's like, which tooth? And he tapped on it. I was like, ow. He's like, ooh. He checks it. There's like a cavity there too. And I'm just like, ugh. And here's the thing why it's my own wrongdoing is because like, I forget, like months and like last year, I was in Taiwan. And I went to a dentist and they cleaned my, they gave me a cleaning and stuff. And they said, ooh, you got a really small cavity on this tooth. You know, you might want to get it done right away, like do it right now. And you know what? I should have gotten it done right at that moment. But I was like, no, I'll get it done in Korea kind of thing. And I just never got around to it. And then the cavity, like it's basically, it was so big, it was hurting my tooth. And I was just like, crap. And then basically I got both sides were clean, the nerves were clean and stuff like that too. And then next week I'm gonna get my crown put on and stuff. But yeah, geez, like I'm excited though because both sides of these were just hurting me a bit. And you know how I don't know what it is. It's just my pride, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll get it fixed. I'll get it fixed. You know that feeling like, yeah, I don't have to get it right now. It's okay. And I just waited too long. I didn't go to the dentist, didn't get it cleaned up and stuff, and that's why it ends up like this. And basically, it's the moral of the story we all know is, right? What's the moral of the story, guys? Well, if you should whenever there's a problem, you should get it taken care of right away. Right? Because when you get it taken care of right away, then you're not going to be spending like $300, $400, $500 on your teeth later on when you can spend what? Like $30 to $50 at that moment right there. So I'm just like, man, it just went up like tenfold, right? So I was just like, but I am thankful. And I am grateful that I can get them fixed and I can, kind of go back to my normal eating habits because it's just terrible. When you have, when your teeth hurt, you get a headache. When your teeth hurt, you have to, eat a Tylenol and stuff like that too. It's just terrible. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I can get them all fixed and obviously get it done by a Providence dentist. And I found out that this dentist is the one that works on Sunstream and stuff too. So I was even more happier. Ooh, this is I have the doctor that when Sunstream came out in 2018, he went straight to that place first. right, by that dentist. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that I'm going to the same doctor like that too. But yeah, ugh, I just feel stupid. Like at least the other one, like the one that was hurting the day before, at least that one I could have gotten taken care of myself a while back, but I just didn't, and I just feel like stupid, dumb, ridiculous, ugh, right? Whatever it is, right? So, yeah, that is something that that did happen. And then next week I will go to next week I'll go back to the dentist just to put the crowns on, stuff like that too. But very grateful, very thankful that God, like being here in Korea, we have all these experts and professionals that are able to do these things too. And even when I look at other countries that are slowly growing and such, yeah, a lot of these countries also do have these professionals that are in school or getting ready to they're actually getting ready to become professionals in these areas too. So it is quite exciting. It is to have it just shows that we're growing that much, that we have these elite level, people that are in these types of areas, like doctors and lawyers and dentists and CEOs and stuff like that too. But very grateful, very thankful. Guys, next week I will be starting the Zoom Bible study Monday evenings at 8 p.m. in Korea. And it's for English-speaking newcomers in Korea. Like that's the original people that I'm doing it for. However, I will be in Taiwan the week after, which means that I will either do my Bible study from Taiwan or maybe just ask Pastor David to do the next week after. But I'm thinking, like, what is best? Because I don't want to just skip out on the second lesson kind of thing. So I am thinking about it and hoping to get all this stuff done as best as possible too. So yeah, I'm excited. I really, really am. And it basically just took me to start, doing introductions and lectures once again for people that kind of got me started. And now I'm nervous and excited to start this new Bible study, the Zoom Bible studies, Monday night Bible studies, 8 p.m. on every single Monday. We're going to go through all of them. I'm going to probably start with an introduction first and then go through the other ones after that. But But for me, hectic weekend, more than I thought it would, because my back is killing me right now. But the one thing that you might not know is the Monday podcast, I actually did it an extra day early. So I did it on Saturday because there was Sunday service, and then I was coaching in a city. I was coaching in a different city, which was about an hour and a half away. So, I thought to myself, as like, even if I'm going to go there and coach for 3 hours, I'm going to go eat and then spend another hour and a half driving back. It's going to be way too late. I'm going to be so tired. So I got my podcast done the day before in a more reasonable time. So yeah. So now, like, that's why, there's like a huge gap, because I did that podcast on Saturday, and then Sunday I was busy. Monday my podcast comes out, and then Tuesday was Eddie's, right? Which means that it's already it's been Sunday, Monday. It's already been like 2.5, 3 days since I did my last podcast, because I did that one day early. So it almost feels like I didn't really talk about the week. Well, I couldn't talk about Sunday because I did it on Saturday, right? But I had a great time coaching this one team in a place called Cheongju. And I'll tell you one thing awesome about that city is they got some crazy, amazing cafes there, like really nice ones. If you look at my Instagram, they got some nice cafes there. And I was driving around, I was like, oh, I want to come back to this cafe and want to come back to go visit this cafe and stuff like that too. So it was quite exciting just to see all this happening. But it was fun, because this region, oh man, I went to their church in Cheongju. Guys, you have to go to that church. It is so nice. It is so nice. You guys have been to Gwangmyeong Church, right? It's like a mini Gwangmyeong church. It really is. And I was like, man, it's huge and brand new. And yeah, I was I went into the main sanctuary, and I haven't felt that in a while, but just walking and looking at how grand it is and how the design is so amazing. Like, I was just moved seeing the place. I was so moved. And yeah, this church, they built it during the pandemic time. It's so nice, guys. If there's a church you want to visit, I think like near Wonwon, because it's less than an hour and a half away. I would tell you guys that is a church that you should visit. It's really, really nice. And it's not a small church either. I believe, I think the church has roughly like 500 people in it, so it's not a small church at all. But oh man, that church is awesome. Like even like you guys just have to see it. I really loved visiting that church. It's been a while since I've been inspired, just like looking at the church, like, whoa, this is just done really, really nice, right? But then again, I'm in Wilmington Church, which is the nicest one, and I guess because I'm there so often, you get so used to it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I had an amazing time on that Sunday, and but my back is killing me because Saturday was the volleyball event. We still played volleyball that day. Then the next day, I went to Cheongju to coach, and then we had and then after that, my back is gone. So it's I'm recording this late Tuesday night. It's like past 11 p.m. right now. But man, my back is still hurting and I can just feel my age, right? But hectic weekend, more busy than I thought it would. And next week, think about it. Next week is Alpha Day. Next Sunday. So I'm like, where should I go for Sunday's Alpha Day kind of thing? But yeah, I'm prepping for Alpha Day right now. I'm prepping for Alpha Day. Of course, IMD's prepared. Not a lot of foreigners coming, but still a lot. It's like 250 foreigners coming, most of them from Taiwan and Japan. And yeah, 'cause since most of the like countries further away, they all came for 316. So it is quite, 316 was like 2.5 months ago, or 3 months, roughly 3 months ago, right? So it's 2.5 months ago, right? So it's kind of soon for these countries that are coming from really, really far away and such. So you know what? And what's kind of interesting for me is when I like Japan and Taiwan are coming almost every week. There's groups coming in constantly, and it kind of makes me feel like, this is why those countries are so big. Japan, Taiwan, they're both like basically like 5,000 each. And just seeing how much interest they take in Wonmyeongdong, how much they visit. And I can't imagine how much they visited when Sunsim was here too. Like they're seeing the culture. They're seeing like province culture. They're seeing how Sunsim works. They're working together with Sunsim and stuff like that too. And it's basically proximity. Right? They can so easily come to Korea and learn. They can come to Korea and see how Sunsim runs things, how churches are running, how evangelism is done, lecturing and educations and all these other different things. Right? And when I think about it, it's like there's an absolute correlation of why Taiwan and Japan are so big. They're coming all the time. Right? They are. And like if I were to tell you the exact opposite is like, for instance, when I was in America, most people came to Korea maybe once a year, maybe, because it's expensive and far away. People have work and school and all these are different, and families and stuff like that too. And they kind of got this secondhand experience of Sunsim through the missionaries that came. It wasn't firsthand, which is completely different. Firsthand is like you can't compare being next to Sunsteam to someone who was next to. It's just completely different. And I kind of looked at it as like, wow, there is a correlation of why Japan and Taiwan are so big. And I would say the anomaly would actually, for me, would probably be America. That's like, they're the anomaly because they're the 5th largest country. Well, if you take away Korea, it's like Japan and Taiwan are 1 and 2. Then number 3 is Malaysia. And then if you take away Korea, right? Then number 4 is America. And if you basically, include Korea, because Korea should be included, it's a top 5, one of the top 5 biggest countries. And it's interesting because it's the only country that's not in Asia, right? Very far away, very expensive. Members can't come often to Korea. And yet it's still the top 5 largest country in Providence, which is quite interesting to me because they're not going to see Sunsim that much. And of course, America isn't that big. It's that Cheongju church is the same size as America. But it kind of made me think to myself what would make it grow that well? Does it have to do with character? Is it because people in America are more independent? They're able to get more done with less? Like, I'm not sure. But definitely when you look at the top three, like the big three, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, they are exponentially bigger than all the other countries. They're just so big. You can't really compare. And that's why for me is the countries that I visited the most in my life right now is Korea, Japan, and then Taiwan. Like though, and Taiwan is just of recent. Like I probably there's going to be my trip to Taiwan next week is going to be the not next week. Is it the week after? What's yeah, it's going to be next week, right? So even for me is like Taiwan. I didn't even start visiting there. I went one time in like 2000 and maybe 14 or something like that. I went one time then, and then in the last like 3 years, I've been there like 4 times, and now going to be 5 times. So the 3 countries I've been to the most are those 3 countries, and it's really interesting just to see the size, the way things happen, the character that's involved, how they lead their countries and stuff like that too. Very, very different, but it's interesting. They're all 3 of them are successful, and the one thing that they all have in common is they've probably seen Sunseam the most. They've traveled to Korea, Wonwondong the most compared to everywhere else, right? So, yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, this is how important it is to be that close to the center, right? It doesn't mean you have to do things exactly the same, but it's important to go to Wonwondong. It's important to see Sunseam live. It's important to get the educations more and more, and it changes a lot of things. And just unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that with. Unfortunately, it's not like that with other countries. They just can't. You can't take that much time off. You have to work. You got to go to school. You have family. You have all these other different things that is not that easy just to do these, to be visiting in this way, right? So I found that to be, that's something that's a couple of thoughts that I had too. There's one other thought that I was having, right? Was about, about praise. And I've talked about this before, but I was really thinking to myself is what is praise? Like what are we trying to do? What is praise trying to do? And for me, coming from the Western countries, coming from a more like forward faith style, right? Like I look at praise in a very different way, and the reason why the former faith is so good at it is because that's what they're so focused on, right? And I was thinking to myself is like there are 2 types of praise that I think needs 2 types of things that we need to work on when it comes to praise, right? And it's kind of the balance of praise is either so good it's like a concert, right? Like it's that high level. But when it gets too high level or too performance based, it becomes like people based, right? People like want to see this performer, right? It's like a performance, right? More than praise. And then the other side is when praise is not really inspiring or good at all, right? And of course, when you're in smaller churches, you can't help it because you don't have enough people to have like praise teams and stuff like that too. But it's like, you want praise to be excellent. You want it to be at that level, that there's that type of power, right, that comes from the praise. But the praise cannot like go over a line where it's more of a performance. You know what I mean? Where we have to do it in such a way where it's excellent, but the main thing is we want people connecting to God during praise, where they connect and praise and worship God while connecting to Him, right? And when they praise and when they worship God, they can feel like God's presence. Like this, I am literally worshiping God right now. He's right in front of me. And it's not something that just becomes like, if the praise isn't that good, then it just becomes like a habit, very habitual part of service, like, oh, it's praise time kind of thing. There's no feeling involved, right? And or it becomes too performative, where it's really about the person singing and not about God, right? And like I would say the praise leader does need to perform to a certain extent, but cannot overperform and take away from worship. You know what I mean? Like the worship cannot go anywhere close to the praise leader or the people on stage, right? So I was really thinking about, I was like, yeah, it can't be like the level of praise and the instruments and the band, it should be that good that people can focus on God, that they can worship God and feel God is right in front of their face and they are worshiping God and singing to him and praising him. And I think that would be like a powerful way of praise too. But I think it's, for unfortunately, I would say for Providence, there's very few places where the praise is at that level. You know what I mean? Where like I would say there's some churches the band is awesome. But I would say that just the style of Korean praise leading is too what do you call it? It's too it's too mechanical. Like the way they praise is very tight. Like they it's almost like they're planning every move of how they praise, and the praise leading, because they have to write down every single thing that they're going to say, they're reading off a prompter at the front. So for me, because I'm more Western, I think it's it's too prepared and underperformed, if that makes sense. Like I want to see a little bit more performance, but not saying that it's gonna take away from the praise and people are gonna be focused on that person. But there needs to be at least a little bit more performance where the people can really get into it. But if everyone is very straight and stuck, and all their hands are like, all with, it's very close to their bodies, and it doesn't feel like they're really free and praising the way that they want to praise, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that would be my thing that I would look at. I really would. Like for me, I'm from the Western country, so I'd rather see something not like a concert, but at least more performative, where when people see people expressing themselves freely on stage, then the audience feels free to express themselves in the way that they want, whether it's closing their eyes, lifting their hands, and praising in a certain way that they can praise and connect to God in the way that they want. Am I making sense to you guys? Does that really make sense? I'm hoping it does. Right, so it is something that I am thinking that I was thinking about too, and it's something that I really wanted to. I wanted to. Yeah, that's something I did want to express a little bit also. But yeah, lots of things to think about, a lot of things on my mind too. But definitely, I don't know. I want to get your thoughts on praise too. Like what the thoughts that the things I'm thinking about is the performative aspect, and also the connecting aspect, and how far you would want it. And are you more, like when you see Korean praise leading or Asian style praise leading, are you more familiar with that? Or are you more freer? I'm not sure what the right word is, where you don't want it too scripted. You know what I mean? Where every word is written down, they're reading off a prompter, but you want it to be somewhat more natural and feels like it's like inspired kind of thing, That's just kind of what I was thinking about. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Toodaloo. Either way, yeah, lots of different things to think about. A lot of different things. Yeah, those of you guys know that Sunseam's trial was on Tuesday, and the witnesses didn't show up, so it was very, very quick. It ended very fast. So nothing really to report for that type of thing. All right. So before we get into the evangelism word study, let's move into the first music break of the day.
It's 1978. This feeling is so great. The word you preach amazing. forget, oh, like the first time we've been together. As long as you don't lose this love, that love will last forever. And as much as I know you're the best thing in my life, I will always tell you that I love you every time. It's 1978. This feeling is so great. The word you preach amazes me. But why do I feel this fate? Ooh, it's 1978. This feeling is so great. The word you preach amazes me. But why do I feel this fate? Oh, people believe in their fantasies, but not God. And that's the problem, that's why they say that it's too hard. No matter how blazing your love may be, our meetings and conversations are the same, you see. You can't let this love go to waste, doing the same things day to day, we're at the same place. Let's speak with hope about new things and the things you have done. I want to get closer to you, I want to give you my love. If you do not enjoy this love, it will disappear. When your thoughts are hard changes, he will take away your blessing. Gotta find your form, find your mission, and just find your blessings. Let's just get back to the old days and find out the temptations. I wanna get to know you, I want to show you that I can give you the word in many places, many spaces. I have seen a lot of people come and go. You're gonna make it, do your absolute best to reach the final destination. Yeah, it's 1978. This feeling is so great. The word you preach amazes me. Why do I feel this fate? Ooh, it's 1978. This feeling is so great. The word you preach amazes me. Why do I feel this fate? Oh, can I get to know you? I just wanna know you. Can I get to know you? I just wanna know you. Can I get to know you? I just wanna know you. Can I get to know you? I just wanna know you.
All right, so let's get into today's evangelism word study. And yeah, it's quite interesting, guys, that within, it's the 28th, which means within 3-4 days, it's the halfway point of the year. And in Korea, it's taken, because Korea is so big, it is organized much, much differently than it is in smaller countries. So they always split the year into the first half and the second half, right, of the year. And Alpha Day is kind of like that turning point that is now, let's get ready for the second half of the year. That even next week, like a lot of the people in headquarters and leaders will be meeting to figure out what's the plan for the second half of the year. And, for me, coming from a smaller country, like even America, even though it's the fifth largest, it's not a really big country. So you're not going to have these types of big things of planning the first half and the second half, and these huge departments that have like 10,000 people in the career department and like another 10,000 in the family department, stuff like that too, where it's not as organized, or because it's just not that big. But I want to share with you guys what I've seen so far and the difference in speed, right? Now, would you say that it's fair to say that evangelism is a big thing in Sunseem's mind right now? And I'm sure all of us will say, yeah, we can see it through the messages. Definitely evangelism is huge. Everything's about evangelism, from the Wolmyeongdong evangelism to internet ministry to there's just so many things going on when it comes to like evangelism, right? And it's interesting because the smaller and smaller when you see Korea and the speed of Korea, it's already at a point where like evangelism, at least the systems and the events are going. Like everything's going and pushing. People are evangelizing. People are inspired. People want to do more for God. People are going out on the streets. People are connecting people, and there's lots of people studying and learning and this and that. All these things are happening constantly, right? Where what I notice is like, remember I talking before about proximity, like how close you are to Korea, how close you are to like the center. it plays a big difference because when when I see Japan and Taiwan, it's pushing. Reports are much different, right? It's more about this is what's going on. This is how many people that are connected. This is what's going on right here. This is the event that's happening here. These are how many people. And it's kind of like things are already moving, right? Where I would say that it's a little bit more, when the countries become smaller and smaller, you don't, I would say there's an advantage. The advantage is because there's a smaller group of people, you don't need to move a lot of people to get something going, right? However, the disadvantage is if it's too small and, like, for instance, the proximity to Korea is very, very far away, it's a little bit harder to get people moving and going. Do you know what I mean? And I would say what's another disadvantage of the foreign countries or the Western countries is it's more individualistic. So it's not like we're going to go out in a group of 10 people. This isn't, well, some churches don't even have 10 people, but it's very, very different in that sense. And you get to see the countries in different stages. So there's countries where there could be one or two people really working hard in evangelism, but the whole church or the whole country itself really moving into that, much different. It's like it's not quite there yet, but when I'm here in Korea, I see it like, whoa. What happened? Remember I told you how small the volleyball department is? They had 30 newcomers come to Wonmyeongdong. The week before that, there was almost 300 newcomers that came to Wonmyeongdong. You know what I mean? Like, one Sun team says go, everything pushes, everything is moving, kind of thing. And it's a little bit harder for the smaller countries, but like I said, it's also a lot easier in some sense because you don't have that many people. So imagine you have a church of like 10 people, even one person going out is a lot. It really is. You just basically need one person, one or two people that are inspired, and you can get things going and you can get things moving. Where in a church of 2,000 people, if one person's running hard, it doesn't really make an impact. It doesn't really set the fire on other people too. So, I'm hoping that all of us out there will really have that inspiration, that heart to know that this is a time, this is the big push for evangelism. This is a time for all of us to really, really understand. Like, how many times in the messages, some seems like, look, I'm doing all this word, but what are you guys doing? I'm the one stuck in this cell. And even here I'm evangelizing, but what are you guys doing out there? And that's a true and real question that we really have to be able to answer. We have to be those that say, yeah, what are we doing? Are we doing our best? Are we really testifying for the Lord? Are we really doing the thing that God wants us to do right now? Because remember that there was a message just several weeks ago where it's like, what is the number one thing that we have to do in this life is live only by God's will, which means we should be always searching for what is God's will right now at this moment. What does God want right now? What does God want from us? What does God want from our church? What does God want from our department? What does God want from me? What does God want? And that is something that I think all of us really have to get our hearts and our minds to start thinking about is, there's two ways to be recognized by God. Right? And one way is when you do really, really well, right? And one way is when you don't do well at all, right? And you'll be recognized in one way or another. Like the one who does really, really well will get praised by God, will be acknowledged and recognized by God, right? And the people that do like the churches or the countries that don't do well at all, there'll be one of two reactions. Number one is there could be rebuke, or number two is it's just, you're treated like a child, like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You guys are good. Like, it's like how you would treat a child kind of thing. And I think it's something that we have to think to ourselves is, how do we want God to react to us? How do we want God to look at us? Right? What is going on? Like what is it? How do we want God to look at us, to see us? How do we want God to respond to us? How do we want God to be, to when he sees our country, like what is the first thought you want in God's head? Do we want to be treated like adults, teenagers, children, babies? Right? What is it that we're going to do? Like, I want you guys to take a look at your churches right now. If your churches are under 10, I think it's really, really something where you have to push for like getting two people, to get at least one or two people per year, at least in the beginning stages, right? And it's going to, I'm a huge advocate of this is we cannot control who passes or who doesn't. What we can control is the conditions we set, how we meet people, the different methods and styles that we do. And there are some styles that are going to work and some styles that don't, some methods, some and prayer conditions that are absolutely needed in order for us to find the right people. And if we set those conditions well, this is when great things happen to your church, right? And I hope that all of us can really look at that too is, I was listening to this one podcast today, and they're talking. It was a political thing. This person who's very like a journalist, and he said that you know what it means to be bribed or to be bought out. Like someone will pay you money and make you do something that you normally or you morally wouldn't do. And what they said was, if the price is your life, then you will never sell out. Interesting, right? Which means that if you believe in something so much to the point where money and all these things don't matter, and the only thing that matters is like the only price you would pay is with your life for what you're doing, then you're going to be someone who's going to make amazing things happen, right? There's no price to buy you out. But as long as you have, like, even if you said 50 million, which means you'll eventually have a price, right? There's always a chance to be bought out. But if the price is your life, you can never be bought out. You would never turn or do something because of money or because of the opposite sex or because of this or that. It's like you're already reached a certain point. And I look at that as like, yeah, what about us too? Have we reached the point where are you more concerned about the personal things, or are we most concerned about the history of God and what God really wants? Do we have a price, right? Like what we'd say is like, well, God, if I don't get this, then I'm not going to do this. Well, God, if this doesn't happen, then I'm not going to do this. Or is the price your life? God, as long as I live, I will do this. As long as my life is not taken away, I'm going to do this, right? And I think that's kind of something that we have to think about too, is like, yeah, what is it? What is the thing that holds us back? What's the thing that's stopping us from evangelizing? What's the thing that's stopping us from fulfilling God's will? And if we can find this, like if we can find and rectify what that is, this is when we can really start to make bigger things happen, and we'll be able to sacrifice a lot more for history to be made, right? Because sacrifice is such a big thing. Is the amount you sacrifice will determine how many people are evangelized. How so? Well, the person who sacrifices more time will meet more people. And if you meet more people will study. And if more people study, then more people are going to pass, right? Just statistically, it's going to happen this way. And am I saying all people that study are going to pass? No, but if you statistically have, if you have 10 people studying, you might get one person to pass. But if you have 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people studying, there is a much higher chance that more than one, more than 10, more than 100, even 1,000 people can pass, right? So it is something that I do think we have to think about. And, we have to inspire and raise this next generation to be doing something like this too. Right? So lots to think about, a lot of things to think about in our hearts and our minds. And I hope it's something that, that we can think about when it comes to evangelism, also the things that we need to do each and every day. All right? Either way. That's the evangelism word study. Hope it's something that inspires and helps you guys out. If you have any questions or anything else, please let me know. And before we get into the world news, let's move into the final music break of the day.
Just like the rest, I walked in death, not knowing the value of a single breath. My pride was the biggest prize I had to protect, walking around high and mighty, sticking out my chest. Calling the shots like I know what's best, living how I like, but I piled up a debt. Outside's alive and aware the inside is dead, and suddenly truth shine just like the dawn. All things in life I knew 0%, then I realized how far I was gone. Wasn't right about anything, I was dead wrong. Everything thought to be reality was a fallacy. My life wasn't great, it was a tragedy. All I knew was fake, I thought I'm losing my sanity. All the while gazing at me was the Trinity, looking with love, grace, and mercy. Patiently working consistently with me, and eventually brought me to the new history. I learned about someone new whom they used. He worked with heaven and I learned his stories. He is living proof that the Bible's words are true. On the scene at 15, splitting every single seam. God's words flow from him like he's a stream, preaching to the point that even his throat would bleed. The most impressive person I have ever seen. Him speaking the truth revealed everything to me. Parables, holy son, soul entity, spiritual universe. Frankly, I don't think he's done. He's taught me 1,000 tons, too much for a single verse. This is so amazing to the point I may burst. I'm sure he's the one the Bible said would come. Where else would this earth-shattering word come from? Then I really realized he is the Messiah, sent to the world and raise humanity a level higher. Didn't come to destroy, but the word is the fire. Amen to the very end, my faith won't expire. He's been going 79 years and hasn't tired. Due to that condition, the greatest blessing we've acquired. Between him and the Trinity, that time was finally captured. I'm sure now that they got their bride, nothing can match her. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you, I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand and a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Just cause I was swept into the net of the word, heard and learned, doesn't mean it's over yet. I really need to look at myself and reflect, line up against God's perfect law and check. All my flaws need to be resolved. Be bold to slanderers when I try to call. Like him, I'm thankful for tribulations, cause I didn't fall. With the rapture, I'm standing tall. The love they give is truly priceless. If I'm not with the Lord, life enters crisis. Without him, I'm a ship that's wrecked to pieces. So I'll always eat the word. Box of Reese's, stick to him, red blood cell and Reese's. I praise God for sending son, sing him, and Jesus. He had a plan for them before they were a fetus, to reveal to the world heaven's deep secrets. With his name, bring the pain, breaking Satan's noses. With the Lord's condition, let's show him a comatosis. While looking at heaven, never losing focus, conversing in our thoughts every single moment. Then our spiritual rapture will never be stolen. If you only see strife, come see what peace is. If you want to know heaven, come and see this. If life were an essay, this is the thesis. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you, I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand and a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Remember, this wasn't given for free, so always hear the word and do good deeds. Praising those that saved us is an amazing thing, and live with them in love. 1 John 3:18. Be like him, always run on God's team. If you live like him, you'll surely succeed. Believe him, absolutely, and gotta let you pass. If you want the greatest salvation, walk this only path.
Okay, so let's move into the final segment of today, which is the world, like what's going on around the world, world news, right? World news from around the world. And of course, next week, right? So just 2 days after Alpha Day is the snap presidential election. So June 3rd, South Korea will elect a new president, and the winner will be tasked with managing the political and economic fallout of the other president. We know that President Yoon, that called martial law when it was absolutely like not supposed to happen, right? So right now, what are the big issues in South Korea? And we can hear it in the messages too. Sometimes he talks about it in the Holy Spirit letters, and he also talks about in the Sunday messages of like, pray and find out the person you like, and then make sure that you can you vote for the person that you're inspired by, right? So what are the couple things that people are like? What are the political policies that people are talking about when it comes to South Korea? And, economy is the big one. So, of course, there was the South Korea is facing possible 25% tariffs, right? And of course, right after the martial law was declared, the economy kind of tanked for a bit in Korea too. And of course, there's relations with North Korea, which is a big thing for South Koreans. And also South Korea, the new president must also balance the relations between Beijing and China and the U.S., because those are the two biggest trading partners. And then, of course, is the declining birth rate in Korea, which is among the lowest in the world. Well, the lowest in the the OECD, like the more developed countries. And that is at 0.75 right now, which is ridiculous because you need to times that by 3, right? So it's a third of what it's supposed to be just to sustain the population that you have right now. So those are the big issues that are happening over there. Second thing, we're going to go over to Australia. And what happened is Australia fast tracks a machete ban. Machete is like a large knife, right? After there was like a big shopping center attack. So there was a fight involving machetes at a Melbourne shopping center, and the Australian state has fast-tracked the country's first ever ban on the weapon sale of a machete, right? So the ban is to start in Victoria this Wednesday instead of September, and it's basically there was 2 gangs attacked each other at a shopping center on Sunday afternoon, and there's 1 person in serious condition in the hospital too. So that's pretty scary, right? But think about this. What happened in England, in the UK? So what happened, there was this big parade for the Liverpool Football Club that won, what did they win? They won the Premier League, right? And what happened was a car collided with a number of pedestrians just after 6 p.m. during this parade, right? And this was on Monday too. A car had been in a collision with a number of pedestrians during this parade. And of course, the person has been detained, and is like a 53-year-old white British man from Liverpool, arrested, and he's believed to be the driver. And the ambulance service said 27 people taken to the hospital for treatment, with 2, including 1 child, who are seriously injured. Another 20 people were treated for injuries at the scene, and 4 children were among the injured. 4 people, including a child, were lifted from beneath the car. And the incident is not being treated as a terror-related, police said. And Police only define events as terrorism if they are considered to have been intended to influence the government or intimidate the public for the purpose of advancing a political, religious, or racial ideological cause, right? But that's another crazy thing that just happened in the UK. So, we're talking about people being hit by a car during a parade, and we're still getting the evidence of what's coming out on that. And of course, two gangs fighting in a shopping mall in Australia. And then, of course, we have the war in Israel. We have the war in the Ukraine. We have so many things happening right now. And we know, as people who are spiritual and of faith, we know why these things are happening. And this is why we really need to pray and repent even more. Okay, so there it is, guys. That is the end of news from around the world. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And that's the end of today's Wednesday podcast. Everyone, have an amazing and awesome Wednesday service tonight. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like